Oh, you need to go see.
All right, sorry, we're moving so quick, you know. All right, call the roll.
Okay.
Call the roll.
Call the roll. Out of order is always fun.
It's all right. Commission members present are Charles Asarno, Michael Casey, Fritz Charles, and Chuck Cook. Staff members present are Dea Antidones, Dr. Jeff Bond, Jeff Thompson, Femi Ogunola, and Patricia Lee.
Okay. Public Utility Directors Report. Jeff, I think that's you.
Page are we beginning on?
Well, the Directors Report is, page.
Somewhere in there.
Just look at your little tab.
I
It's
don't know
there.
where we are. Let's see.
There we go.
Well, that's the minutes. It's in the, we're right to the core, the financials.
So, good evening, everyone, and pleased to present this.
Is your microphone on? There we go.
Sorry about that.
That-
So, good evening, and pleased to present the financial report, and pleased to meet all of you gentlemen, and I hope that we will have a long and productive relationship as we certainly strive to communicate effectively with this commission and make sure that we're trying to model the initiatives that you guys are putting forward. So we have some great staff here who have been instrumental in helping the utility move forward, and right now I'm going to turn it over to Femi to give us an update on the financials, and then we'll return to the rest of the agenda.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. And as said, my name is Femi Ogumala. I happen to have joined the city in about 4 months ago. So the report that I'm going to be presenting is actually the last quarter of fiscal year 14. And I'm going to start with this summary for the 12 months ended September 30, 2014. Water fund budgeted revenue was 28,987,000, and of which we actually realized 28,481,000, resulting into a 98% realized. Also, the expenditures, we actually did better than planned. The expenditure was 25 million as opposed to the $28 million budgeted. So we have about 88% expended.
Mhm.
So
Was that $3 million, was that a carryover to the next year?
a part of it was a result of the last year, 1.5 million that was carried over from last year.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
But it will be returned to the fund balance,
Balance.
if that's your question.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
He doesn't want that money going anywhere else.
No,
No. No.
no, the general fund is a black hole. Definitely don't want that.
Okay. And over to sewer fund. On the sewer fund, we add. Same thing.
62% only on the sewer fund?
Yes.
Is that because there were projects that weren't brought forward, or, I mean, it's a pretty large amount, considering.
Well, okay, go
We
ahead.
have some SRF fund for the infiltration and inflow project, and we have the 10 pump station. It's a $3.16 million for the 10 pump station.
So that wasn't utilized during the last fiscal year?
Yes.
Or
it's
utilized
still
now.
ongoing. It's still
Okay,
Yeah.
so it hasn't completed, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
So that explains the expenditure side of it. So let's move on quickly to.
Well, Femi, let me just add one thing.
Okay.
As you see, we had $1.5 million that was carried forward in both of the enterprise funds. We didn't obviously need that money, so that wasn't did not end up being used, and we're going to add to the fund balance in both funds. So.
Yeah. All right. So we now go to the to page 4, I believe. That's the comparative schedule for the gallonage, waterfront billed gallonage by year. We show that over the years, the gallonage used or consumed has been leveling off. Now, in the last year, last year, 2014 versus 2013, we show an increase, which is indicative of an improved condition in the economy and also more usage, from residents.
We think that this is probably just the end of the effectiveness of some of the conservation measures. There aren't a lot of high-flow toilets remaining in the system, so at some point we're going to bottom out with increases in efficiency, and we think we're getting pretty close to that point.
So on the next page, you will see, which is page 5, the details of the revenue. Okay, the details of the revenue on the next page. Okay, so on the first item on there, you see where Jeff alluded to the 1.5 million from last year that was carried forward. That's the 1.5 million, and overall, we did better than planned. Even when we carried the 1.5 million forward to this year, it shows that we actually did 1 million better than planned. And then the next slide will be the graphical representation of the water revenue by sources. Consumption charge outside city was about 56% of total revenue. And then minimum charge outside city was 11%. Then another one to be highlighted will be the consumption inside city, which is 15%.
Is the consumption charge outside the city of 56%, has that been pretty much standard, or is that going up, going down? Is that, historically, has that been about where it's been?
Yes, it is about that rate historically.
Councilwoman Smith, welcome.
Thank you. I'm sorry I was late. I ran into the excavator. Literally.
Of course, the other piece of information is, of course, the people that live outside of the city pay more
Yes,
money.
yes.
More money, yeah.
So it does account for that.
Now, the next slide shows the breakdown by departments. So really, which has a summary. I would like to take you to the summary instead, which is on page 9. So it's broken down to departments by salary. Okay, by salary, operating expenses, capital outlays, and non-operating expenses. So we show that the operating expenses, we have an unused, we budgeted 6.9, but we actually, no, we budgeted 7.6. We actually expended 6.9. And also for the capital outlay, we budgeted 5.1, but we expended 4.5. And even in the operating, we budgeted 9.5, we expended 7.5.
Were there projects that didn't happen that was budgeted for the capital outlay for that big difference?
Yeah, I have 2 big projects just sending the notice to proceed because we had a bid in the past year, but because we had the deep injection well repair, we had 2 under contract and water plant. I cannot move 2 more contractors in place, so it's delayed a little bit. So that was bid and planned in the last year, but it's moving this year for construction.
Only basically get you.
Yeah, so we haven't paid out, but it was encumbered.
Jeff, could just, well, since you mentioned the wells, could you give us the status on the project?
For the deep injection well,
Yeah.
we went through. I personally went through quite a bit, and then the the final result, we are very happy. And the issue is gone also. What happened was the annulus, we have like an open annulus. It used to be like a fluid. That's what it leaking in. And through all the work with the contractor with DEP approval, we getting those ungrounded. So it's on concrete. There's no chance for leak anymore. That issue is gone. And the reason we need to spend that much of money, remember the well is 2,800 feet deep. The annulus is 1/8 of an inch. So you cannot like push a tube in there for the concrete. So they actually put it inside the well and going from the bottom, pushing the concrete up. So it took us about 3 weeks after we all the evaluation settled. But the end result, and I'm very happy. We have a final well. We don't need to worry about the annulus leak anymore.
You don't anticipate any more issues with it then?
No. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And that we have different options. It was the first option went through. I was worried if that option did not go through, what do we do?
We have faith in you.
Thank you.
That was the capital outlay explanation. To the non-operating reason, we said there were less than prior year, primarily due to the funding of water fund revenue bonds that occurred in the first fiscal year of 2013. Then we also said the current year expenditures are less than planned as a result of the timing of debt and service payment. That is the reason why the non-operating expense varies. Okay. All right. So now we have the slide for.
What page are you
I'm on page 10.
Or
Page-
we're
yeah.
on.
Oh, okay.
Good.
All right. Water fund expenditure by department. So highlight here we have about 34% for water production. Then we have for admin and debt service for 14%, and we have admin and general fund for 15%. Those are the highlight in the water fund expenditure.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Plant system security, do you anticipate any changes there?
Say that again, sir.
Up or down?
Plant system security.
We do anticipate an increase expenditure in plant system security. We unfortunately a couple weeks ago had a major copper theft at in the well field that resulted in the loss of operation of 2 of the wells, and it highlighted some of the criticality of bringing in additional security resources to that site that's very isolated. So we've been taking steps to monitor that, using our own in-house personnel to do drive-bys during the night to make sure that we don't have any people on the site that don't belong there. But we are in the process of procuring security contracts to come out there and
Cameras? Do you have
Cam-
cameras on the site?
we do not currently.
You should.
Everybody sounds like the
How remote are
primary.
they?
Yeah, that is.
Where's the location of the wells, or roughly what area?
I'm not sure if we should say
Yeah,
that.
That's what I mean, it's
but
west, though. Is that, I
yes.
don't wanna, yeah.
It's
I-
offsite.
It is off-site,
Off-site.
yeah.
It's off-site. We're about to remedy that situation, though, and we are deploying cameras.
Councilwoman Smith had
I was
comment.
gonna ask you at the end of the budget that I see that you're presenting, what was the cost, and did you already have a place in the budget, because it was copper and it needed to be repaired, did you already have that money somewhere where you could put your hands on, and has the repairs been completed?
We did have the funds available, and we have started the repairs. It's a complicated issue. There was a mechanical failure on one of the pumps in the wells, and we're still trying to address that so we don't have everything back up completely. But we have gotten it to the point where we have no loss in production capacity in the plant. So
The stuff finished, the one easy fix, the stuff fixed. The other portion need to have a contractor. We're working on to getting contractor.
Could I ask a question? Is this an issue where there was copper stored on the site, or somebody actually got into the well and removed copper that was part of the system that was already installed?
they actually cut the wires while they were live and pulled the copper out.
And the wire is.
How many volts?
It's underground.
How many
Wire
volts is
underground.
Enough.
At least 220, right?
Yes.
Probably 440. I mean,
Wow,
really,
it could be, yeah.
I think you people should start looking into putting active, not fake, total coverage cameras and recording equipment.
Well, I think in today's
Our intent is to
24/7.
our intent is to do just that.
in today's
in
world,
near term.
with the threat of what's going on,
Yeah.
water supply has got to be one of the most vulnerable. And when we hear a story like this, it makes one believe that we need to reallocate some assets to security. Because I remember when I went over to the water plant, I was very unimpressed with the security arrangements just on the water plant itself. I mean, there's one guy in a booth who, you know, if somebody really wanted to get in there and really wanted to do some harm, they could do it. So I think that this city would be more than amenable to allocating some assets to bring that security in all of our well fields and the plant up to where it needs to be in the environment in which we live.
And perhaps alarms.
Well,
Not
whatever,
just
I'm
the
not a security expert. but-
Where is Homeland Security in all of this?
Well, we submitted a vulnerability assessment to DHS back years ago, and that vulnerability assessment has not been updated yet. So,
Time ago.
but it's our intent to do that in the near future, and to then roll out security measures that will not only detect any kind of intrusion, but have be able to assess exactly what happened. So we'll have high-resolution cameras and a lot of other sensors in order to identify what is going on.
And the state looking for any water-related incident, we need to report. So I did a report to state, so they'll analyze more regionally, say forming any patterns, anything. So we don't know what they're doing, but any incident, any water system security related incident, we need to report to the state. We did that.
Does the wireless system for reading meters have any capacity to do any cameras, or is that outside of the scope of that?
That is out of size.
It is, okay.
Well, I think this board, from what you hear, is very interested in us upping the ante with the security.
And
By a
it's
significant amount.
it's certainly our intent to do so. So yes, you know, the original question was whether the plant system security percentage would go up. Indeed, it will, and in the near future.
We will understand.
Okay.
Councilwoman Smith?
I would like to know from our council, from legal counsel, if it's up to you as a board to make a motion to direct the manager through me as your liaison, that this should be a priority, not just giving them the direction, but to give me something to take back to the manager.
Lee?
You can certainly adopt, if they're calling for a motion, you can certainly adopt the finding and ask that either, you know, some kind of exploratory group be set up or make any other kinds of recommendations you might want. Are
Will
you?
it make your life easier or more difficult if we
Right,
do
that's
that?
what I was gonna say.
I mean, if you've already got something in place that you're doing, if you're
Well,
following your directives.
Yeah, we've been working with the city manager's office and with procurement to get a firm in to assess, to update the vulnerability assessment and also to deploy security measures. So that's kind of already in progress.
Nice welcome for you here. Yeah, you know, personally, I think I would rather let staff, it's a sensitive issue.
Yeah.
You know, location and method and everything is sensitive. And I think staff probably has the capability of doing that. And certainly it's, if we want to make a motion that we're, you know.
We're in support of it.
Support of the staff making the
I don't know
decisions.
if that's meaningful or meaningless. But Councilwoman Smith, I think is very important that this doesn't become a matter of public information, so everybody in the city is now worried that somebody's stealing our copper pipes out of our wells.
We had a big awakening with this.
Yeah.
He's been on top of it.
All right, well, then I think that's adequate, and that'd be from my perspective.
We have met with the chief of police, and he's definitely involved and has his officers involved. So we are definitely on top of it.
Maybe we could get Clint Eastwood in the booth at the you know.
Yeah, let the minutes reflect that the board is in full support of what staff is doing, and if anything more is needed by staff that the board can provide them, the board would be willing to do so, and just leave it at that.
Looks like I opened the hornet's nest.
No, I think you definitely, it's
That's what you're here for.
yeah, exactly, okay. Okay.
We'll be on page 11 now, I believe. So it has to do with the Waterfront operation analysis of gallonage. Production for the year was 7.5 million, and total gallonage bill was 6.3 million. We have a difference of about 1 point, which we call on bill or unaccounted for 1.2 million, which represent about 16%.
You want to do the second thing on the list while we're right there? The unaccounted water?
Well, one thing I want to bring up is something that we, ironically just discovered a couple days ago, and that is that one of our interconnects with Miami-Dade Water and Sewer Department apparently has been flowing for quite some time. So we discovered about 342 million gallons of water.
Freebie.
No, not freebie. This is metered water. This is
Headed their way.
metered water. They just simply have not been billed for it yet. So,
I like that term.
but it definitely represents a big portion of what we had seen. This number creep up, and now we think we've solved part of the mystery.
And they will pay for that?
Well, that's up to them, but I think it's certainly our intent that they will. So,
Just from a historical perspective, there was a time when we were actually down to around 10% and below that, which I know from an engineering standpoint is quite acceptable. But and it has been creeping up some, and I know we have an older system, and I also know that we could run rings around the Miami-Dade Water and Sewer, because I think they're much higher than that, aren't they, Jeff? Are you going to? No, you don't have to comment. That's why I won't put you on the spot.
It is true. I run further than this. I did a further. This come to end of September, so I did October, November.
Yeah.
The 16% is like the highest one. It's going down. If you look at the last quarter of 13, I can right on top. That's like 20 something. That's dragged the number down, and plus the what we discovered, and we continue to do the leak detections. Actually, the AMR system has a leak detection system also. And right off bat, when they finished the installation and they had the software come up, and the engineer actually give us some directions, there are possible leaks, we went there fix them.
Okay.
So we running right off bat, we're benefiting already from the AMR system.
So this water that was flowing out away that hasn't been billed yet, is that because of equipment failure, or is that just? Does something need to be replaced, or?
It's from their side. Their intention was close, but it was not close.
Oh, so it just possible human error.
Yeah, or it could be
Or just something
a
just
valve.
get-
It was they say it's automatic valve. It was open.
Okay.
Miami-Dade Water and Sewer has a valve called a pressure sustaining valve that attempts to, well, the design is intended to keep water only, water's only supposed to flow when their pressure drops in their system.
Understood.
For whatever reason, we're not sure why, but it was open, and it's their piece of equipment. So the water flowed through our meter. And
As long as it's metered.
Glad you saw it.
All right, we are this on sewer fund right now.
What page we on now?
Will be page
Never open.
sewer fund will be just see,
Sewer fund? Okay.
page 12,
13?
13.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So we see sewer fund comparative schedule, bill gallonage consumption as of September 2030. So we also see it on just like the water fund, we see an increase. And rather a decrease in. Unlike the sewer fund, unlike the water fund, we see a decrease in the gallonage year. You see a total of 997,460, as opposed to 998,634 for last year. But it's still leveling up now, right now.
I mean, that's not a trend or
It's
anything.
not a-
It's just a,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Pretty much at the flat line.
yeah.
yeah.
Mm. So the next slide shows the details of the revenue for sewer fund, which we discussed earlier. You saw the 1.5 million that we talked about that was carried forward from prior year. Okay. So, and then following slide, it's the graphical representation of the revenue. Consumption charge outside city representing 67%. And the next one to be highlighted is the minimum charge outside city of 17%. The next slide shows the expenditure relating to the sewer fund. They are divided into the various departments. Typical in there, it's let's see the change here. Fiscal year total revised budget was 4 million, and we expended 2.8 million. That's the operating expenses. Let me quickly take you to the slide where we did the explanation. Operating expenses. So we said in the operating expenses that would be on my page. I'm sorry, my page is cut off. That's why I can't tell you what the page number is. Yeah.
Oh,
Is this where you have your journal entries towards the back? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. There are some explanations towards the back, which but
it's
29?
page 28.
28 or 29?
Well, let's see.
Yeah.
I guess it would be. You're right. It would be 29 for expenses.
Yeah, revenues and expenses, those are the two, right?
Yeah, for the sewer fund, yeah. So for the expenses side, you see that salaries and benefits are less than planned due to unfilled vacancies. That's where we said it's represented by number 1. And then for the
Can we stop there for a second? Thank you. You just walked right in. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Could we? I know that that's an area that we need to address. Also, is that there's a number of vacancies in utility, which need to be addressed, and that you and I spoke about it. And I was just wondering if you're making progress.
We are making progress. We're working with Human Resources. We currently have about 25 unfilled vacancies. So the department is running extremely lean at this point in time, too lean. And so it's simply a process to get through to fill these, and we're trying to expedite it as quickly as we can.
Are we doing with the water plant operators? Are they working overtime at this point because of lack of staff?
Some of the operations are incurring overtime as a result of this. Yes, absolutely.
Do you have the authority to proceed and fill these slots?
We do. Yes, and we are doing that. So,
And I would think our salaries are reasonably competitive with other cities.
in some areas they are. In other areas they aren't. We have seen quite a bit of I don't know if you want to call it poaching from other utilities of some of our operators who are trained very well by our personnel and then end up leaving relatively quickly for other utilities.
Is it all money?
It's primarily money related, yes, income, wages. So we're working again with Human Resources to look at the possibility of conducting I know they've started a compensation study and comparing us to other utilities. The American Water Works Association does a compensation study every year, and comes out with a report that illustrates for various positions in a standard utility how you know what the range is for each different position. For most of our positions, we're below that.
Well, we should take a look at that.
Yeah, definitely. And the number of vacancies was due to, I mean, there was a freeze on hiring at some point? Or?
I think that's my understanding, but you know, a lot of it has been attrition due to retirement.
Oh, okay, right. So we have a bit of a brain drain, and now we need to kind of bring in some more people here, so
We do.
don't retire yet.
Yeah, part of the reason was for the past few years we don't fill any vacancies, and now we're getting lean, and they're also some of the HR process, and they need to do a new job description. Those delay the process also. I was working on getting some of the positions signed going through, but I kick it back with the new requirements. So, but we're close to getting open those positions.
In order to expedite the process of getting the job descriptions updated and posted, we've actually I've contacted Human Resources to bring in an outside consultant who specializes in that, so that they will be able to move that forward very quickly, rather than have us attempt to make sure that we're legally compliant and covering all the bases there.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right. On the non-operating expense area, similar to the water fund, non-operating expenses are less than planned, primarily due to the timing of debt payments and unused contingencies. So that explains major variances that we have in the sewer fund on the expenditure side.
What month does fiscal year start in? Is it October?
It ends in September.
September?
Yes, end of September.
It goes from October 1 through September 30.
That's the end of the report?
No, we still have a year. I mean, this
You must
just a
have-
year-on-year comparison.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, but just
What page
tell
is
us
that?
page it is.
that would be page 19, and it's page 19. Yeah. So it's just an attempt to compare fiscal year 2013. Yeah.
What page are you on?
You're on a different page.
No, I'm still on 16.
Oh,
Page 19.
you have a
Page
question on
19.
there?
Yeah,
Oh, we have to go back to 16 for a minute here.
we're in the 5th month of the fiscal year, and this thing says that 62% has been expended, which means if that continues, there's gonna be a shortfall.
No, this is actually for fiscal year 14. So this is the entire year. So that was for a full 12 months.
Back to page 19.
Yeah. 2013 versus 2014 is what we are looking at for the water fund. Overall, we had actuals of 28 million, and which is not significantly, just a almost 0% change compared to 2014. So those are I think that's the way to think about it. The most important item there is the 50 million consumption outside city charge, which stays steadily over the two years we are looking at. Then the next page has sewer fund comparison as well, fiscal year 2013 versus 2014. Pretty much level, the variance is just about 2%. Our highlight is just the 5 million, yet again the consumption charged by outside city, which is just 5 million, and it's about the same in 2014. So we can go now to the supplemental information, something that has to do with the fire flow and the impact and implant fees received.
And what's that, page 22?
22, sir, yeah. So we see an increase, more like a spike from 2013. Yeah. Yeah, we see a spike in the implant, fire flow, and the impact fees collected, primarily due to the increased economic condition and, you know.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
developments are picking up again. The next slide actually is just for information to show the debt summary as of September. Total, and this is, I'm going to say this is just in the summary level. It's not the actual as we speak today. 81 million is the loan, that is estimated loan, and it is estimated to be paid back on an average of 20 years, and payment on an annual basis, it's 6.3 million. That is for the water fund. And for the sewer fund, we have 12 million, and payment is estimated to be 754,000 in a year. So really, if you go to the next slide, you will see the bonds payable, which was refinanced in 2012. The 65 million number that you see on there is the bond that was refinanced in 2012. Total paid to date, it's we've paid about 2.3 million, which represent the change, and the balance as of 9/30 is the 662 million that you see as of 9/30/2014.
That big bond was actually refinanced, right, at a lower rate than what we had before.
Before, yes.
Right, so there are some savings built.
Oh, yes,
now. Yeah.
yes. So, and the same goes with the sewer fund. Let's see, loan receivables, total cash. Okay, so we have the SRF loan, which I know you probably know how the SRF loan works, which is it's a drawdown. It's done on a drawdown basis. In the last line there, you see an increase of 115,000, indicating that there were more loan drawdown during the year than planned.
And are all of these loans, or these are ones that we actually have to pay back? Are some of them ones where after you pay so much, the rest is forgiven, or are these actual?
Some of them are forgiven. That's on the next slide, you see that in the Florida Department of Environmental and the state reporting, some of them are forgiven. There was a particular one in which about 3 million was forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right. I like that part.
So let's see. I think that concludes the financial reports. Yeah. That's the end of it.
I just want to say thank you very much. Yes. I know numbers, you're more comfortable with numbers than us probably, and we like to ask a lot of questions, but thank you. We appreciate all your help with it.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Is there any other comments on the director's report?
We're actually going to give an update on the AMR deployment, and we might touch on any. We kind of already discussed unaccounted for water.
Yeah.
Yes. Stayed open.
Yeah.
We think that's a good
Anything
part,
else
yeah.
wanted to talk about? Yeah, the water loss. But I'm glad to report that we are the AMR making very good progress, and we are working very good with the contractor. Because we did quite a bit of public relations items, so we didn't have much complaint. And the on the progress, actually, you can see from city's website. Yes. Yeah, the periodical update. This picture, you can see we are about 47% complete now. They're actually in city area. They started with Miami Gardens. They're right now coming to city area.
And this is supposed to be finished in August?
The final completion is September 2015. By August, they should be substantial complete. They're anticipated by July finish install the meters. And we're making very good progress. And I like to say this always: the project's going very good, and a lot of people actually are very happy. We're getting a lot of positive comments. And one area I was worried about getting people's yard, getting people react, and we had not a significant number, but with staff help, we're getting all of them in. That's not a big issue, but in the end, when billing starts, some people might not be happy because they're low metered now, might be have the right number. So,
Yes.
some people might not like it, but that's the real number. So, yeah, we anticipated the project complete on time so far.
So let me just ask you, Jeff, so the people that have the meters changed, you are getting the information, or are you still sending the meter readers out? Or are you actually using those readings now and putting them into the system?
Yeah, one of the area I understand the AMR process. Most of the problem come with billing, so I insist we still go read until
Yeah,
everything accepted.
Right, so you're gonna do a parallel system?
Yes. Right now,
Yeah.
over customer service still go read for serve me two purpose. One, make sure the bill is going smooth, and the second one, they actually go visit the meter. If they say anything not right, they can report back to me. So right now, we are still relying the customer service doing billing, but we are in the process doing acceptance of a certain route. So if one route accepted, we pass everything, and we can have that time that round the number they can use.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And are there any issues going on, like over where there's more high-rise building, or you haven't really gone over there so much yet? Where there's some higher building?
Yeah, no, they don't anticipate issues, but we are working. One of the area is we are working right now mostly using FPO's LiPo for the repeaters. When we get in the beach area, that is not an option because they have decorated ones, and FPO says don't belong to them, and so we're working with WASA and Sunny House Beach to sending some of the repeaters to their locations. Mm-hmm.
Councilwoman Smith?
I just wondered, I had one phone call about somebody's hot water heater break, that if the system requires them to drain the hot water heater before they change over, and something happened. Have you had calls like that, and is there a percentage of calls where people have felt the changeover on a personal level?
They're worried about 50 gallons of water?
Not really. Hot water is totally internal. It has nothing to do with us.
No.
But in terms of complaint, we had in the beginning of a project, and we had people. They had when the new installer come in, they turn people off, but they didn't turn back off. So we get those. But when we call them back, they
Often turn the people off.
responded immediately.
Yeah.
We have also low pressure complaints, and we have weekly meetings to address on the issues, including field issues. And then if somebody we say some complaint about low pressure, but I wasn't sure they're supposed to be getting better, not getting lower pressure, but it might be over old area when they're resolving that. Anything related to any complaint after the installation, the contractor is handling that.
Okay.
Yeah, they actually go in there. Sometimes they don't say it's their fault. They just go fix it because they don't want to any
But
trouble.
you
So
don't see anything outside of the scope of normal issues for installations like this?
no.
Mr. Director, is there anything else in your report?
Not this time, but
All right, then, anybody up here have a comment or accept a motion to accept the director's report?
Oh, I'll make a motion to accept the director's report as presented.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
That was easy.
Okay, any old business? Any new business?
I have something
go
I'd
ahead.
like to bring.
Okay.
If possible, I'd like to get some sort of a list of upcoming projects at our next meeting, so that we can, get a sense of what's coming up, because it's been a while since we've been in the loop here, so.
You mean residential projects,
Um,
high-rise projects, or?
And no, I'm talking about water projects,
Water
anything,
projects,
yeah.
okay.
Anything's coming up, or, and give us a sense of what's going to be completed soon, if that would be helpful.
Jeff, would you like to just briefly update on the 2 rehab projects we just started?
Yeah, we have 2 projects because we fixed the well. We have there's a Save All Bridge we called, you approved in the summertime, I think, or before that. So the 2 project completed. So we getting 2 new projects. One is the filter project. It's the lime softening side filter. You approved all those, and we just started construction. And that contract is a 5-year. We replaced all the 11 filters. So we are giving them 3 at a time. So they're doing 3 now. We also have the Florida well rehab project, and it's notice to proceed was actually this week coming. So those are the 2 ones. We also have some of the sewer project coming also. In addition, we still have those 2 big projects. The 10 pump station still continues, and the VOC still continues.
But we'll provide a more comprehensive
No,
update in the
that'd
next
be great.
meeting.
Thank you.
Any new business? No public comment? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Let's
Aye.
go home.
We're adjourned.
Okay, thank you very much. Jeff?
Thank
pleasure
you.
to meet you.
So you work.
We appreciate you and your staff doing
Oh, okay.
a nice job you're doing.
Then you don't have to deal with it.
Financials look good, at least until you spend more of the money.
Well, yeah.
But,
You have to know it's coming after.
we're here to help
instead
you.
of You're in the middle of it.
We're here to help you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
You're welcome.
You want to thank us for half how cold it is up there.
I mean, the school board does it from half of the way
It is
it was
so
of the
bad
school
up there
system.
now.